In this video, guys, I want to talk about becoming a scalper. Stay tuned. Hey traders, warm welcome to you. All right, so in this short video, I wanted to talk directly to you about becoming a scalper, because many of you kind of ask questions about becoming a scalper. You know, that's quite a popular video series I've done. Go and check it out, kind of the mini course, if you like, on scalping and how to kind of get the best out of that, or at least to start your idea and then go and generate your kind of trading plan and approach to it. But I wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit about scalping and some of the pros and cons of the way I see things. Now, the one thing you've got to be really, really careful of is that, you know, scalping has got lots of downsides. There's lots of upsides, there's lots of downsides. Let's address both of those now. Let's go to the upside. Let's go positive first, right? Let's go positive. The upside is that the shorter the time frame, there's an argument to suggest the shorter the time frame, the bigger the inefficiency. In other words, you get short-term inefficiencies that happen over kind of a minute or a few seconds that can be taken advantage of. I'm not talking about arb trades here against cash against futures. I'm talking about kind of these little spikes in the market you can trade a mean reversion on, or you can jump on momentum ignition type trades quickly because you're watching those lower time frames. You're watching the tape, you're watching the time and sales, you're seeing how all these things interact, and you're trading. And there's an argument for that. The other argument is that you're trading kind of frequently, you are able to step back and you kind of don't have any overnight risk. You have to hold trades, you have to worry about walking away from the screen. You're sitting there, you're operating, you're done, you make your money, you walk away. That sounds fine, that's all good. And there's lots of reasons why you might want to do that. It's your personality type, the time, etc. But the downsides are pretty strong too. Now, obviously, the cost. If you are trading 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 times a day, yes, nowadays brokers are super cheap, right? They're super cheap, but that's still money that you've got to spend to do that. You know, even if you're doing 1 point spread and you're scalping via a CFD or a spread bet contract 100 times a day, that's 100 points. There's 100 points you're paying in spread. Now you might say, yeah, but I'm making this and making that. That's fine, but that's still a cost to you. Now, some brokers will give you a volume discount so you can bring that down, which is all good. But if you're scalping on futures, and if you're obviously scalping via a spread bet, you are paying a commission or a spread. There's no getting away from that. It's intensive as well. This is the big, that's fine. That's all well and good. That's fine. And you know, at the end of the day, guys, most of us have got really decent internet connections. The computers nowadays can run, and you can compete on that level. You can't compete with the HFTs. That's not what you're trying to do. You're trying to spot short-term inefficiencies, you know, 15 seconds, 2 minutes type thing. That's a scalp trade, maybe 5. That was probably what I would call a scalp trade. Over that, you're kind of looking at a day trade. But the other thing you've got to really be careful of is, as a scalper, is overtrading and emotion. These are the two biggest nemesis of a scalper. So if you are an emotional type trader or someone who gets frustrated, who trades on tilt, scalping is going to bring the worst out of you. It is going to shine a light on that and amplify those bad habits, amplify those feelings you have of frustration, of anger, or whatever it may be, because it's very short term. You've got a lot of cognitive load, you've got a lot going on, you've got a lot of decisions to make very quickly, and you tend to be trading more size because you're looking for the smaller moves. And if it goes against you, you're not quick to cut it, and it goes more and more, that could be turned into a significant loss pretty quickly. So you've got to be absolutely disciplined and nailed down. The other thing is overtrading. You know, this is a scalper's nemesis. Because there's a fine line and scalping tends to be a very frequent with a slim edge, and you're just ting, taking small little bits, loser, win. You know, and over time you're going, okay, actually, you know, I'm up a couple of grand on the day. That's the scalper's mentality. But you can easily fall into overtrading. And overtrading is, hey, is there really opportunity here? And you might go, well, how do I overtrade as a scalper? Well, you know, as a scalper, what you're really trying to do is find areas to do business. And rather than a day trader who's positioning for that bigger move, or a swing trader, you are trading around that idea. So let me give you a kind of example. Imagine the market comes down into this kind of level here. There's a bit of support here. And as a scalper, you're like, oh, there's opportunity. So as a scalper, rather than a day trader who might say, I want to go long here, I want a short pullback, you are super active in this area, using this as kind of a pivot anchor point and saying, all right, I'm going to scalp as we kind of stretch away from it for a ping back towards it. As we go above, I'm going to do this, and you kind of play that mean reversion oscillating around while stops are being pinged. You're back to the a kind of level, the key level. So as it comes low as a cascade of stops, maybe as a scalper you're buying that, pops back and you bring it off again. Maybe then get short for a retest. You kind of play this volatility, short-term volatility in this little window here. You know, that's your job, and you're not really bothered about this. You know, that's not really your job. Your job is to kind of catch these short-term inefficiencies. So going back to the overtrading point, focusing on that is, and you might do 10, 20, 30 trades around that, depending on how long it stays there, and then maybe your next level of interest is going to be up here, so you're focusing here. You're not focusing on this, and that's the scalper's nemesis, is they get caught up still in environments that aren't really conducive. Now you might say, well, chop is good for a scalper. Not really, because it's difficult to see the nuances of supply-demand shift. When you're at a key level like this and stops are getting pinged, highs are getting taken out, whatever it may be, the open's being tested, there are participants that are executing, trading the opportunity for you as a scalper. Those short-term inefficiencies, the short-term spikes that you can fade, all this type of stuff. That's where your edge is as a scalper. It's not continually sitting there all day, ching, 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 because you're just going to waste your edge. You have to be very, very specific still. And it's almost like, as a scalper, you might have many dozens of trades in that day, but you're stepping back. And then you're like, bang, really aggressive, machine gun fire almost, and then back. Then you're waiting, then you're machine gun fire and back. You're not constantly doing it. That's the danger I think scalpers can fall into, a trap that scalpers can fall into, is being constantly machine gun, full auto, and they're not really focusing their effort on specific areas like the lows, or a swing high, or a pullback level, or the open, or the close, or the Friday's high, Friday's low, overnight range, whatever it may be. You get the idea. And so it's that focused area. So you've got to be very careful with that as a scalper. And you know, one thing is, you know, it sounds attractive being a scalper, and we've got actually a guy in. Well, he's a scalper, but he's starting to extend his time frame out. He's had super great progress. His equity curve is just a beautiful thing to observe. You know, over the last 90 days, 3 months, it's just been, you know, glorious climb for him. But one thing he's done is he's scalped, but he's scalped like 3 or 4 trades, and that's it. So in the day he'll come in, trade pre-market, scalp, and done. So you don't have to be a scalper all day long. You can still spot the high opportunity, what you believe is a high probability, high good opportunity trade, should I say. Go in, be aggressive, few scalps, they might only last for 10 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute, and you're done and you're gone. It doesn't necessarily mean that you continually trade that way all throughout the day. In fact, I would go so far to say the person who does that is less likely to succeed than the person who goes in. It does come back to that kind of concept of being laser focused, but even just one point. You go, hey, I scalp around prior day high or low. The first one we touch, I scalp around it, I'm done. I might make 5 or 6 trades and I'm done. And it's having that specificity of what you do as a scalper that will set you apart from everyone who goes, yeah, I'm a scalper, and who just likes the joy of trading, just likes executing trades. That's not going to get you anywhere. That's just going to rack up commissions, rack up spread, and you're just going to go, your equity curve's just going to stabilize a bit. You're just never going to get really much progress. Well, I say never, because listen, there's always exceptions to the rule, but in my experience from seeing other traders and from my own trading, that's how it works out. But if you're very, very specific about when you trade, and you're a scalper, but you have a small window of time, and you might be extra aggressive in that, but it's a very short window of time, there's opportunity there. You know, there can be opportunity there, but be very careful. The mentality, the mindset, the costs, all these things mean that it's not holy grail. It sounds good for a lot of people, but being very, very careful and it's having a trading plan and having some structure to the trading day, rather than just flying by the seat of your pants, trading on a whim when you feel like it, when you don't feel like it, and just executing heavily, because that's a broker's dream, that, and you don't want to be that. You want to be a good client to the broker, but a profitable client, someone who trades well, but someone who's there for the long term, say for the next 1 year, 2 year, 5 year. And the final thing, of course, is the cognitive load. Guys, it's hard to process all the information. I know we all think we're superheroes, but it's hard to process all the information and make good decisions. So respect your focus, respect that it's a finite supply, focus really hard intently on those areas, scalp if there's opportunity, trade as mean reversion trades, as momentum ignition trades, whatever setup you've got, then back off. Let yourself rest and calm, then back in again. And think of it from that perspective. Anyway guys, take care, see you next one. Becoming a scalper. Bye-bye.